1952, the level of trust for salespeople was at 70%. 70% of the people trusted salespeople. Today, it's like the floor has fallen away from us. It's less than 10%.
Well, I did watch something on Netflix that was pretty cool that talked about that whole movement and where they were sending pretty girls to sell to doctors and that whole thing. And
I was competing against those pretty girls, man. It was not easy. $250,000. I was on day 10. I'd already sold $250,000. Day 11, he calls me and goes, "Yeah, this is not working out. We're gonna let you go." So they fired me.
now me and the guy are just texting about Hawaii and the things he's doing. He's sending me videos and I'm like, we haven't even talked about business, but as soon as he gets back, that deal's closed. Because the relationship's been established from Hawaii. Now we're talking more. Welcome everybody to the show tonight. Today we got a special guest for you guys and I'm super excited for this special guest. He goes by the name of Kayvon and I met him through a mutual friend. He did medical sales for a while, I believe. He has a crazy story going from bankrupt to millions of dollars in business. I met him a few weeks ago. He actually trains people to do high ticket sales. He's very focused on the human connection. And I always like to bring different salespeople onto this call so we could figure out what are they doing. I want to press them on some sales topics. I want to see how it applies to different businesses of some of you guys that are on this call and some of you that will be listening to this call. And I want to open it up for Q&A. So, hey-o! What's going on, man? Good, man. Let's give him some background. Kayvon's on jet lag. He's been on a flight. He was trying to reschedule, and I told him, you know what, Kayvon, we're in sales, buddy. We don't reschedule calls. Salespeople are always ready. I remember one time I didn't sleep all night because my baby and had a bunch of shit going on, and I went and trained 4 companies in one day with no sleep at all. And I'll never forget, I told myself in the back of my head, this is what you get paid for. This is what the big bucks are for. This is where everybody else fails. This is where you show up. And that kept me going. But thank you for being here, man. I know you're on a strict schedule.
No excuses, right?
Yes, sir.
Excuses are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Yes, sir. And they all stink. Welcome to the show, man. Before we get started, we're going to dive into some sales things. Why don't you just give us some background about you, yourself, how you got into sales, your journey, and what brings you here today?
I've been fortunate to be basically in sales all my life. People always ask me, when do you think you started sales? And I remember like when I was 6 years old and I was written off by the school system, told that I was never going to graduate, that I was ADD, ADHD, LD, and reading, writing, math. I mean, what was left? Phys ed. So, and then I grew up in a small town with, racist town. So like basically by the time I was in grade 1, I was selling myself. I was selling my ideas. I was selling myself out of trouble. And I was fortunate enough to have an uncle of mine that was like a second father to me. He was in sales. He was actually a furniture sales expert. So I watched him on the weekends communicate, connect with his people. And I was like, he always kind of reminded me of being like a little bit of a rock star, right? And then, so I always kind of took that avenue of sales. I've been in all different types of sales. And my claim to fame is by the time I finished my career of, corporate career in sales, I was the #1 pharmaceutical sales rep for the largest company worldwide. So, it wasn't a small thing. And then from there, I went online and, continue the sales journey. So sales has been part of my life. I think, and I believe you believe in this too, is whether you're selling or not, you're either being sold or you're selling someone. No matter if you're a mother, caretaker, whatever it is you do, you are in sales. Sales is a way of life. In fact, I was just working on my book today about that.
That's awesome, man. Pharmaceutical sales. I've heard a lot about pharmaceutical sales. People told me that's where the money is. It's good. I've used to meet people in there. How was it? What were you selling? Who were you selling it to?
So there's a difference between what you call as brand and generic. And then there's a massive difference between the United States and Canada and how we do drugs. So I wanted to just make sure that's
Canada and US, we do drugs different. US does them hardcore, raw.
It's just different. The scene is just different. So in Canada, I was generic, which I absolutely love because I did a little bit of brand. So brand is like you've seen the movie where you blow out the matchstick and you only have 30 seconds in front of the doctor and you got to give him a quick sales pitch. You got to get through the gatekeeper, right? That sucks. I don't care what anyone says. That sucks. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Horrible. I went over to generic where it's a totally different conversation. You're actually working with pharmacists. You're going to actual pharmacies and you're dealing with people that are way smarter than you on the drug. So it's not about the drug itself. It's actually about the relationship. And when I realized that, that's when I started actually winning. But needless to say, I have no science background. I still, to this day, being number one, can't even tell you how to say the majority of the products I was selling. I had over 1,000 different SKUs. We had over 200 different locations I was selling to. I still can't even say the real words like the brand generic of like Tylenol and Advil. But yet I was selling millions. At one point, I sold. It was about my own personal sales was up $14 million a year in sales in drugs. Yeah. And I want to be very clear. These drugs are 1 cent, 10 cents. I was selling Viagra, the generic for Viagra. We were selling it. If anyone knows what Bago is, buy one, get one. I was selling it. You give me $1. I'll give you 90 cents back and buy one, get one. That's how wild it was. It was like called the Wild Wild West there. And then everything started getting locked down. And then I saw what the heyday was. I wasn't even part of the heydays. This is like the early 90s, late 2000s. I came in way later. And then even after that, apparently it's just been gone to shit. So this is not what this podcast is about. But yeah, I would not advise someone to become a pharmaceutical. No way. In fact, I would advise anybody to go become a pharmaceutical sales rep. Not what I know now. Not that I know the best sales, I think, is what I teach and what we do is high ticket sales, man.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Well, I did watch something on Netflix that was pretty cool that talked about that whole movement and where they were sending pretty girls to sell to doctors and that whole thing. And
I was competing against those pretty girls, man. It was not easy.
But that was more like the opiates crisis. That
was different. That was the opiate crisis. Yeah, but that's brand. So that's brand, and but that stuff is real. Like all that they showed is basically it's real. It's what happened.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know that. All right, so you're in this pharmaceutical sales for how many years?
At the pharmacy, like 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. How does that turn into big ticket? And what did you take with you from that business?
Story short, when I saw the changes in the industry and everything, I realized I wasn't making money. I was making like 200 grand a year, 250, but the reality is the package was like 3-4 because I had the car paid for. I was paying everything on the credit card, but it still didn't have a lot of cash. And I was like, I'm supposed to be in the prime of sales. And like, this is what life is. I was living in the most expensive city. And at one point, the most expensive city in the world by real estate, which is Vancouver. And I'm like, hanging out with all these, I'm not going to use I don't want to sound like a racist. So hanging out with a bunch of people from a different country that have a lot of money. And I was like, how do I even compete? So I figured I needed to do something different. Started looking at the online space. This is back in 2014, 15. So this is after like that first wave, but not before, the COVID wave of people coming on. And I saw it. I'm like, there's people making money online. And I went down that rabbit hole. And long story short, I left pharma, put it all on the line, left a career, took the loans out, cashed everything I had out, went all in. Book said, go all in, 100%, commit, can't do two things at once. I did it all. A year and a half later, almost 2 years later, I was $150,000 in debt. Course after course, hiring copywriter, having fun, like all of this crap. Nothing, because I didn't understand it. I was just hope. It was all hope. It was all like, oh, this guy's going to save me. That guy's going to save me. And waiting for a guy or somebody to come and help me and save me, not realizing nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody's saving you. And the only person that's going to save you is yourself. Now, fortunately for me, I went online and I was like, I need a mentor here in Vancouver because all these mentors online were just like, not giving me what I need. Let's just put it that way. Met this mentor in Vancouver and he basically said, stop being a marketer. He said, you're not a marketer. You're a salesperson. Go be a salesperson. What? Like I paid you $30,000 I didn't have. I missed the story here, but when I talked to him, he said, I can help you, but you got to give me 30 grand. I'm already 150 grand in debt. I have no money. I'm 8-9 days away from being bankrupt. And now this guy's asking for another $30,000. People go, well, how'd you get the $30,000? What do the books do? You pick up the fucking phone like a salesperson and you start calling. And I started calling. And I'm the 27th person, which was a pharmacist in my old past. And I said, hey man, listen, here's my dream. Here's my goal. Like I'm in debt. I have nothing. nothing, but I have I have this dream. I have this person saying they can help me. I need 30,000. He goes, no problem. I believe in you. Here it is. We had some, side conversation. Needless to say, got the money, gave it to the mentor. Mentor says, you're not a marketer. You're a salesperson. Go be a salesperson. I was like, thanks, tips. I already knew I was a fucking salesperson, but what I didn't know was instead of trying to be the guy, so instead of trying to be the marketer, go sell for the marketer, go close for them. Well, I didn't realize that these guys had $20,000 product and I can make 20%, 10% off that. That's insane. 20. So I was like, so I told him, I said, you're telling me that in an hour, they show up on my calendar. I just have to pick up the phone, have a conversation with them. I got to make $2,000 an hour. He's like, yeah. I'm like, done. Where do I go? He said, I don't know. Just go to a Facebook group. Sure enough, went to a Facebook group. Literally, when he said, go to a Facebook group, see, this is really good for salespeople to know this. Most people will give you the idea. Go to a Facebook group. 99% of the population won't go to the Facebook group, let alone do the work in the Facebook group to get the opportunity. I went to the Facebook group that day. I went and I searched. I found a job listing. I applied for it. I got on the next day on an interview. I convinced the interviewer that she'd be an idiot to not hire me. She believed me. She hires me. I had no idea who I was working for. I wasn't one of those salespeople who has to be like this and this. And no, I was like, just give me the fucking opportunity. I just needed opportunity. Gave me the opportunity, ended up being an opportunity for a big guru, not going to mention the name. He ended up having a $20,000 offer. Literally 30 days later, I was making $30,000 a month. This is the key. $30,000 a month, just using the simple skill of connecting and talking to people. No business.
What was the first product you sold?
It was $20,000 and it was a 5-day event to come learn how to build a business, affiliate marketing business. So they actually would sit with you in person and get you all set up and potentially even get your ads running so you can even start seeing your first sale. People are coming in from all over the world, Australia, overseas, all into coming in the United States. So we were filling up events, 20K.
So they're high ticket items. They fill up your calendar. You just got to call and close the people. They're already interested from marketing.
Already interested. They knew I didn't have to do selling, man. It was amazing. It was so good. It was luxury.
All right. Where'd you go from there?
Learned some more lessons. No matter how good you are, no matter how good you get, if you earn too much money, you get fired. So I got fired. I'll tell you what happened. It was a great story. You can see my thing. This is not Rolex, but the owner on August 1st, 2017, I'll never forget it. August 1st, 2017, the owner goes, guys, see this? This is Rolex. Whoever sells over $500,000 this month gets this Rolex. This is what I did. I said, what? I said, you're telling me that if I sell over $500,000 in the next 30 days, I'm going to get that Rolex? He goes, absolutely. What do I do? What do most salespeople do? They sit and they wait till the meeting's over and they give an hour till the meeting's over, right? No. Hung up. Boom. Went right to the CRM. You think I was going to wait for calls to come on my calendar? No. Got onto the CRM and started hustling. $250,000. I was on day 10. I'd already sold $250,000. Day 11, he calls me and goes, yeah, this is not working out. We're gonna let you go. What? Because I made too much money and you were never going to give that Rolex up, but you lied and you never thought someone on your team was willing to work that hard for it. So they fired me.
That's just shitty leadership though.
Yeah, I know. So then I said I was over it. And then I went back to the mentor. Mentor said, do you think we can teach this? Long story short, I said, yeah, I can teach this. Little did I know, 18 months later, we had a $38 million company. We were training over 10,000 sales reps in 100 different countries. We were the biggest, largest sales training, call it platform course in 2018 before everybody else entered the market. We were the ones that paved the market, like literally paved the way of the market, and the market got saturated.
Yeah. And now you're doing like consulting work as well. Like you're helping people where your company will take the calls for them. They'll book the calendars. They'll take the calls from the calendars. They'll help with the whole process. Is that right?
Yeah. So now now I have a company called the Sales Connection, and we basically work with coaches, consultants, and we'll do the entire sales process for them, sales training for them, and sales fulfillment. Or people will hire me individually as Kayvon to come in and do the training, sales training for their teams, work with their salespeople, get them to the next level, coaching, consulting, mentoring, all of that.
Got it. So a lot of my listeners and people I associate with, I do a lot of phone sales training.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Mortgages, real estate, solar, life insurance, all these kind of things. You're not really selling an actual product, right?
We sell services, like we sell products and services, but we don't sell what do you call it? Like an actual hard product.
Yeah. I'm saying it's not a hard product for the people listening as well. Some of them sell mortgages, refinances, saving money, purchase loan, like what kind of advice would you have for these people with phone sales? What are some of your main tips? Because you're selling high ticket items on phone sales. Let's start off with a script. Do you use a structure on a phone call?
Yeah, absolutely. I use a structure, the same structure every single time for high ticket sales. sales. So if we want to go through that, you want to go through that structure?
Yeah, tell me your structure on a phone call.
It's a little bit more nuanced than this, but I'll dumb it down. Beginning of the call, first 30 seconds, most sales reps try to build rapport, ask how the weather is, all that bullshit. I don't do any of that because I believe it's too salesy and people can smell it. I believe in acting like, number one, like a doctor. The frame I always use is a doctor. If they got the problem, I have the solution. My job is to ask the right questions at the right time with finesse, to listen. I'm going to tell you just overall things, concepts that are so important. Most salespeople think they're listening, but they're not listening. They're listening to respond. They're not listening to actually hear. And I said, when you're really good, like when I get to my level, when you're listening, you're actually listening to what the prospect's not saying. Very, very important there. Listening to what they're not saying. Why? Prospects lie. I don't care what anybody says. I've been in this industry for a long time. They lie or they withhold information. Why? Because they don't trust you. You haven't built a rapport with them. You haven't created the foundation with them for them to trust you. And you're acting like a typical salesperson. So back to structure. First 30, 40, 50 seconds of the call, I am just establishing rapport. Like authority, meaning I'm asking quickly. I say, hey, I see you booked a call. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Well, just out of curiosity, how did you hear about us? Or out of curiosity, what book did you read the book? Whatever homework we gave them for that call. This is more in the marketing. You give them something. So I have something to talk about. Once they say that, I then establish what I call is my credibility, establish what's going to happen. So first and foremost, what I want to let you know is I'm going to ask you a few questions. Some of these questions are going to be a little deep. Maybe some of them you might not want to answer, but I'm going to have to understand your situation to really see if this is the right fit for us. Then if we choose to do that, now a lot of trainers I talk to will be like, no, they act like they're cooler. Like they would say, if I believe it's the right fit, I think that's bullshit. I like it more I like it nicer. If we both feel it's the right fit, then what we're going to do is I'm going to go a little deeper into what we got going on over here and we'll see if it's the right thing. How's that sound? Okay, great. Boom. Done. I created my authority. I told them who's in charge. I told them I'm going to be asking questions. And I also, in sometimes, and again, the nuances is, hey, if I hear anything going on in the background, I'm going to call it out. So if I hear the kids in the background, I hear the husband in the background, I'm calling that shit out because a distracted prospect is not a buyer. A distracted prospect is not going to listen. You're not going to be able to get their attention and they're not going to be able to move forward, especially when we're talking about high ticket sales. We're not talking about $1,000 deals here, $1,300 deals. I'm talking about $5, $10, $15, $20, $100,000 deals here plus, right? So you got to make sure they're not distracted. If I don't hear them distracted, I see that they're fully there. Boom, we go into it. We go into what I call is 80% of the conversation now. 80% of the conversation right now is asking the right questions at the right time with finesse, asking deep questions. And how does that go? Well, you got to understand it. If you look at it this way, you got to look at who are they? Understand their situation and the current situation. Okay, what's their number one problem? What's their pain? A lot of people screw this up. They don't understand the 3 levels of pain. I'm going to tell you this because it's very important. The shit I'm giving you is gold. I just want everyone to understand this. When you understand this, you will become the best salesperson in the world. 3 levels of pain. Pain number 1 is what we call surface level. Pain number 2 is business or financial. Pain number 3, the most important level of pain, it's personal. Most people don't get to personal pain. What does that mean? So let's go back up to the surface level. What's surface level? You're a business owner. You're calling me and I do marketing. Let's just say you're calling me and you're telling me, oh, my Facebook ads don't work. The conversions are not working. The salespeople, blah, blah, blah. Most salespeople will sit on that and go, oh, tell me what the Facebook ads, blah, 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 blah. That's surface level. That nothing happens on surface level. Second level, business or financial. Okay, as a result of the Facebook ads not working, coming down, what's it doing to the bottom line? What's it doing to the morale of the team? How are you paying the bills? How much longer can you go before you can't pay the bills? Ooh, we got something there. But the third level, as a result of all those things happening, Facebook ads not working, surface level, the money's not coming in, the business is struggling, second level, business or financial level, personal level, deep. How do you sleep at night, man? Did you ever think, how old are you, 40, 45? Did you ever think at 45 your business would be failing the way it is? What does your wife think about this? What do you think about this? Personal. That's where the sales. So once we go through there, I want to be very clear, and we go into the deep, deep pain, and I go the deeper the pit or the deeper the pain, the bigger the outcome. Most people don't want to go deep. That's why they never get a big outcome. The deeper you go, the more you got to come out. So then once I'm in the deep pain, I connect them to the future. I call it the promised land. Take me to the promise. I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. So now I'm talking about painting. You'll see people talk about painting the bright future. So, okay, let me ask you this. Suppose I can't make any promises. Suppose we were to work together. I mean, what would success look like to you? Let's draw a line between today and 6 months, 12 months. What would need to happen for you to be truly excited and satisfied with the situation? What else is going on? Now I'm painting up this future. I've got to get them again. Don't tell me, show me. And the key, I'm going to give you another one. Write this down because this is another one. When you say something, it means something. When they say something, it means everything. So when I tell them, for instance, oh, you're in paying because of this, that means something. When they be able to tell me like, yeah, no, I'm like, this sucks, man. I'm hurting. I'm not happy, man. I can't go. Like I got 2 more months. I got 2 more months of cash flow and I'm going to be bankrupt. When they can say that to me, that means everything. And the same as the promised land. I mean, who's going to be on the trip with you? Tell me what the car. It's more when they can tell me what it's actually going to feel like. Most importantly, I say, so once they talk about their future, I go, most importantly, how's all this going to make you feel? Because we buy what? We know this. We buy emotionally. We don't buy logically. We buy emotionally and then we think about it logically. So my job is to get them emotional in the process of what I call the emotional roller coaster, the process I follow, so that I can get them to where they need to go, which is the end result, which is a sale. So once I get them from the promised land, I get them committed. Now, this is the important thing. Most people get this wrong. I ask for commitment. I don't ask for sale. I don't ask them to buy my product. I don't ask them for credit card or money. I ask them for their commitment. So how committed are you to making this change? How committed are you to fixing this problem? How committed are you to making this happen? Because they're going to what? Tell me they're committed, yes or no. Once they say I'm committed, so now I got problem out of the way. I know what their future is, and now I know their commitment. What have I done in that whole journey? I've eliminated objections. See, most people are always like, hey, how do I handle objection? That's the wrong question to be asking. The question you should be asking yourself is, how do you eliminate the objection? And you eliminate the objection by asking the right questions and by getting people through this process that I'm talking about. Because at this point now, this is right before presentation. And I ask them, how committed are you? And sometimes it's coaching. So it all depends on if it's a B2B, but if it's a coaching, a business opportunity, right? It's a little bit of an unsophisticated buyer. I'm going to coach them a little bit more and go, well, listen, I'm going to tell you, it's going to involve hard work. This isn't like some free lunch, some quick stream. Like, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to become someone you're not right now, because the person you are today is not the person making a 6-figure income. Would you agree with me? Yeah. Because you're a direct reflection of the results we get. Do you agree? Yeah. So would you agree that if you want X, then you probably have to be someone different? Yeah. So how committed are you to actually becoming that person? Because the person you are today, if I give you all the tools, all the things you need for success, you will it up. And I can't give you that, but I got to give you your new version, your best version. Now, here's something. I'm going all over the place because you got me going. What are people actually buying? People don't buy products. They don't buy services. They don't buy your gadgets. They don't buy the next latest, greatest thing. At the fundamental core, deepest core, deep, people are only buying one thing, and that is a better version of themselves. People buy a better version of themselves, period. Now, I'm not talking about pens and notebooks and gadgets and tricks. And when I'm talking about high ticket offers, high ticket sales that truly matter, they buy a better version of themselves. When you go into a Ferrari dealership and you're buying that car, you're not buying the horsepower. You're not buying the idea that you think it's red and everyone. No, you're buying a better version of yourself. That's what you're buying. When people are, you said mortgage broker, and people are buying a new house, what are they buying? They're not actually buying 4 extra bedrooms so the kids can run around and all this and the nice dog and that. No, they're buying a better version of themselves. They're upgrading to a better version of themselves. That's what people are buying. And when we can connect to that better version and speak to that better version, you get more sales. Make sense? So I get commitment. Then at the end, I do the presentation, and then I don't ask for the close. I was going to say, then I ask for the close, but I don't think you should ask for the close. In my high ticket sales, I think if you have to say, hey, let's get this done. Are you up? Hey, let me get your credit card, all that. I think you've lost a sale. My closing question is this. One question. Where should we go from here?
You were throwing some straight fire out there, and I love every second of it. I was writing notes, as a matter of fact, man. Great salespeople take great notes. You know, you got to learn from everything you're hearing. But
people do this. What does this sound like? What am I? An accountant, a note taker, an administrator. Real salespeople take real notes. Pen and paper. I was at a software company a couple of weeks ago in Vancouver. I was so freaking disappointed. I see the sales guys, they got all these screens up. I go, where's your script? Oh, he's like, oh, 1 second. He moves over 3-4 tabs, and then it's on his screen. And I'm like, you're joking me. And I look around and I'm like, yo, where's your script? You're in sales. Your script should be printed. My script, I write my scripts, and my scripts are printed on my desk. They should be in front of you on your desk, not on your screen. That's a distraction. It's so bad.
The crazy dilemma is that every single person I talk to that's successful in sales, like, we've never talked about this before, but the same exact structure you broke down is the same exact structure that I teach in the mortgage world, real estate world. The first 30, 50 seconds, gaining the value, establishing control, building credibility, branding, foreshadowing, and then going deep into the rapport, not surface level. I call it go 3 layers deep to find the gold, right? Right under is the emotion. Use that emotion. I say squash objections before you get them. The 8-mile play. Like, so everything you're saying is similar to what I teach, and it's the right things.
Because it's not rocket science, man. And I'm sorry to say that. I know like we want to, both you probably and I are egos. Let's get real here. You want real talk, real sales, real talk, motherfuckers. Our egos want to sit in here and go, oh, my way is a little bit better. I called it the NEPQXCTVY and someone calls it another. It's the same in philosophies. If you've been in sales long enough, you've learned it, you've tested. It's the same philosophies. It's just how you go about it.
Yeah, it's not ego. It's about that it's much easier to take the path of least resistance and not have to go that deep on every single call and not have to take the calls at night and in the morning. So it's more of a will, I think, more of a will play of how bad do you want it and how bad are you willing to stay disciplined for it.
You said will, and then you even used a better word, discipline. That is the most important one, is how disciplined can you be doing the same process over and over.
Which is something I read on your website. You say developing unshakable self-confidence. Talk about that. How do you help somebody develop unshakable sales confidence? They're stuck in a sales rut. They don't feel like doing it. They feel like they're not getting anywhere. How do you get them out? You went from bankrupt to 38 million. How do you get these people out?
First and foremost, you got to know you can't give what you don't have. Number one. Number two is unshakable confidence comes from within first. So I tell people, when I work with people, I don't work on their script. I don't work on the outside. I work on the inside, because I said it earlier and I'll say it again, you are a direct reflection of the results you get. So the first thing we got to do is we got to first work on the inside. We got to see what's going on the inside. We got to work on your belief system. We got to see where you're actually at. Most people don't have success because of the fear they put on themselves, the limitations they put on themselves. You'd be surprised. I have people in my life in their 40s, that still go home every weekend to mommy and daddy, that are still under mommy and daddy's spell. And yet they're wondering why they're not successful, because their parents are successful, but not understanding. They don't get a mind of their own. They're all their perceived notions, all their thoughts, all their beliefs are not theirs. They're somebody else's, other people's in the world. They don't even realize that. They don't realize that if you don't watch the narrative that is being given to you every single day between left and right and all the stuff, that you are not going to have a mind of your own. So the first thing we got to do is we got to go internal first. Second thing we got to do is here's one of my philosophies in sales, and it's also philosophy just in life. In sales, they'll be like, sell anything to everybody. Sell ice to an Eskimos. No, don't sell rubbers to a monk. Don't sell everybody. I don't believe in selling everybody. I believe in selling the right somebody. It's the same concept reverse. As a salesperson, I can't sell shit that I don't have confidence in, clarity and certainty in. My markers are very simple. I ask myself this: would I buy it and use it myself? If the answer is no, I'm out. Now keep in mind, I might not need it today. I might not be something I want today, but if I was in the situation and I had the pain of the prospect and I needed out or I needed fixing, would I buy that product? Yes or no? The answer is no. You cannot sell it. You will not have shakable confidence. You will be miserable. You may be really good for a bit. You will burn out. The second one, I love this one, is would I sell it to my mother? Would I be confident to sell it to my mother? Now, I love my mother. So some of you that might hate your mother, you don't use that one for yourself. But I love my mother, and I wouldn't sell anything I wouldn't believe in that was going to help her. And then the third one is a big one too, is can I charge double for it? So I'm selling something for 10 grand. Can I confidently sell this thing for 20 grand, for 30 grand, and know that the value is there, and know I can do that with all the conviction in the world? If the answer is yes, yes, yes on those three, I then will look at the product and see if it's the right product. Now, I want to give you an example of what that means. So I was working, when I was doing these high ticket sales, I had a lot of different offers on the go. And I had one offer, which was a Forex offer, Forex trading, right? And I'm good at sales, but all of a sudden my confidence is going. I'm getting a little upset, not making the sales I want. I'm doing okay, but I'm not like, I know I can do better, right? Losing people, right? Getting in my head. And I finally call my mentor, I go, what the fuck's going on? Fuck, blah, blah, blah. He just starts laughing. I'm like, what? He goes, Kayvon, let me ask you, do you like Forex trading? No. He's like, okay, the type of people that are buying this product, who are they? I'm like, oh, they're like I don't want to get into too much. They're like the emeralds, the high seas, the engineer mindsets. They ask too many questions. They got to know, no. And I'm like, he's like, do you like those types of people? No, they wear me out. Okay. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you don't see it? And I was like, oh my God. I'm selling a product that I don't care about, and I'm selling it to people that I don't really like. And yet I'm wondering why I'm not successful. Does that make sense? So if you're a salesperson, what does that mean with shakable confidence? Okay, well, let's go back to that. You're a salesperson and you don't like the people you sell to. You don't like the conversation, the day-to-day conversation. You don't like your product and you're wondering how to sell more. The answer is you don't sell more. The answer is go get another fucking job. Go find another product you love. Go find a product that you actually care about, that you actually want to serve. Because I'm going to tell you this, most salespeople fail because of this fundamental rule. They put themselves first. When you put yourself first as a salesperson, you will end up on the bottom. When you put your prospect first, you'll end up on the top 100% of the time.
All right, let's get into follow-up, man. I know you create follow-up plays for people. You've made a bunch of automations, campaigns. You do email marketing. What is your tips on follow-up? How do you get these people to prospect? Do they still email? Do they text? Do they voicemail? Do they create a campaign? Do they automate it? How? What's your sauce on follow-up?
So there's still, man, let's get clear here though. This is for salespeople here, and you just said two things which I think are different things. I think prospecting is different than follow-up.
It is. Prospecting is hunting and follow-up is following up with your... Let's start with following up.
If we talk about follow-up, okay? So follow-up, number one is this with follow-up. Do you have a CRM? Most salespeople use their CRM as a trash can, not a gold mine. I use mine as a gold mine. What does that mean? I have my CRM set up that I know exactly what I would call my long-term nurtures are, or the guys that are going to close within 24 to 48 hours, the guys that are going to close within 3 to 5, 6 business days, the ones that are going to close in 30 days, and the ones that are going to close 3 months, 6 months, and then long-term nurture, meaning 6 months, like they're like, maybe I'm going to have the conversation with them, but I'm going to keep up with them. So first and foremost, that's called a sales process. You need to have a sales process in place, a follow-up process in place. Secondly, you got to do the freaking job, because the reality is now, before it was like 8 to 9 touches for a sale, it's increased dramatically. It's like 22 to 26 touches, science is now showing. 22 different times you got to speak to somebody, contact them before they make a sale. And now this is talking, from beginning marketing all the way to the end. Obviously, sales, we cut some of that in half. So follow up, I build it all into my CRM, notifications, emails, texts. I also have my own personal reminders. So the system's working, but that's great. But I have my own personal reminders where I actually just call them randomly on my phone. I actually do the work so they know that I care. The reason I won in a pharmacy in the beginning, I asked my pharmacist straight up. I said, hey, the Apotex was one of my competitors. I said, and it was the one everyone was hunting. The guy everyone wanted that job. I said, the Apotex rep. Just out of curiosity, when do you see him? Like, does he come every like 3 weeks, every 4 or 5 weeks? She was like, yeah, no, about every 5, 6 weeks. I go, great. I went every 2. He started going every 2. I went every 1. And then I had to play a different game because we're not going to go every freaking single day. Played a different game at that point. But like, outwork people. The great thing with follow-up, your competitors not following up. Your competitors do not follow up. You suck and you just follow up. You'll win the game. Because salespeople don't follow up because they always are looking for the new sale. They don't realize, because they're not data people and they don't understand data, they don't realize the majority of the dollars and the majority of your sales actually comes from the back end. It comes from your follow-up. It comes from your relationships, not from the first people every single day. First time. People burning leads for no reason. So that's my follow-up game. Now, if you want to get more strategic about the follow-up game, it's a different conversation, but like I'm following up every couple days, depending on it all depends on the sale. It all depends on the life cycle. It all depends on also the sales cycle, how long it takes a sale to happen. Depends on the types of people. That one I haven't figured out how to teach salespeople, because that one to me it's an art. There's an art form to it. You can try to systemize it, and you do systemize it through CRM, but then on top of that systemization, there's a nuance. There's an art. You just have to have that feeling, right? And the idea is when you're following up, you're not always asking for the sale. There's another thing real estate, like salespeople do wrong. They follow up. Hey, you ready to buy? You ready to buy? I don't know. I'm following up. I'm just letting them know I'm thinking about them. One of my biggest lines was this one is it wasn't true when I did it the first time, but then it worked so good that I started just using it is, hey, Ace, man, I just got to give you a call. I was actually couldn't sleep last night. I was thinking about you so much. You were thinking about me before you went to bed? Yeah, man, I was thinking about you because I was thinking about, good notes, circled notes. I was thinking about that one time when you said X, nothing about the business. No, not business, strategically, not business. When you said that personal thing, I was talking actually think about when you told me that story about your daughter, or that thing you're telling me about maybe in the business, but something unique about the business, right? And I kept thinking about that, wondering like, how do we solve that problem, man? Like,
that's a good one, man, because like there's some guy I was texting to get his business, and he told me I'm in Hawaii. It's 3 a.m. I guess he doesn't live in Hawaii, so I guess he's on vacation in Hawaii. So then I look up Hawaii time and I text him like, yo, send me some pictures. I want to go to Hawaii with my wife. Now me and the guy are just texting about Hawaii and the things he's doing. He's sending me videos and I'm like, we haven't even talked about business, but as soon as he gets back, that deal's closed. Because the relationship's been established from Hawaii. Now we're talking more. And I know a guy in Hawaii, his name is Rob.
So let's talk about that, because as a sales pro, you know what I would do if it was a big deal? Like if again, this all depends on where you are in the sales process. You figure out where the he's staying. You send him a bottle of wine. Send his wife a thing of flowers.
Well, I got him a connection with somebody I know in Hawaii that moved there.
Exactly. You just said, or even better than everything I just said. It was better that is, you know what? I actually got a buddy who's a local in Hawaii that knows a great spot you got to go to. Give me 1 second. I got to connect you guys. Boom, boom. Hey, same thing that happened with our connection. Look at where we are right now. And that connection, I guarantee you, he does what he does. He does that. He writes me hand letters still.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
And freaking letters. I got one today and I'm like, man, love it. Can't read them. Hard to read, but I know who it is. And I think about it.
A lot of great things you said today, man, especially the 3 levels of pain. I love that one, man. That's definitely a headliner there. I love how the structure is the same. I love the compassion and the energy. You talk a lot about human-centric buying.
Human-centric selling. No, it's called human-centric selling. So human-centric selling, I have kind of in 3 different categories. It comes down. Number 1 is get your house in order, AKA human-centric selling starts with you. You cannot give what you do not have. If you don't have your self-love, your self-respect, your self-heart, you're gone with all your bullshit. You cannot give that. So number 1 is get your house in order. Get clarity, conviction, certainty. The 3 C's I always talk about. All of that.
It starts with you.
It starts with you. Yeah. Number 2, intimate relationships, not relationships, intimate relationships. I mean, actually caring about people. I'm talking about having a connection. I'll tell you this. If you're a salesperson right now, here, I'm going to ask you this because I tell my guys this, I'll fire you if you don't have this answer. If you're a salesperson right now and you have, say, someone on the line, like you're going to close someone in the next 24 hours, whatever, 48 hours, ask yourself this. Do you know the book they read this week? Do you know their daughters or their sons or whatever? They're not their first names, but the names of the teams that they're on, the sport that they're playing. Do you know that? Intimate relationships. Do you know their deepest pains? Not the pain you think you're projecting on them, their actual real pain that they've told you that keeps them up at night. The pain that they told them at 2 a.m. The pain that they don't tell their wives. They're not telling their business partners. They're not telling their kids. In fact, they're not even telling their therapist, but they're telling you. Intimate relationships. And the third one called love of the game. You have those 3 things. You have what we call human-centric selling, where now it's about the human. It's not just about tactics, not about strategies, it's not about what's the best way to handle an objection. All that shit is about 10% of the game. None of it fucking matters if you don't have the core.
I love that, man. Lastly, what's your drive and your purpose? What keeps you going every single day?
My drive is a bad one, but it is more. In the movie, not Wolf of Wall Street, forget the name of the movie, but he goes, what's your number? The guy goes, what's your number? Thinking, hey, is it 5 million, 10, 20 million? And the guy looks back at him, he goes, more. And I was like, yeah, that's me, baby, more.
I think that was the late Kobe Bryant in a Kanye commercial.
No, it wasn't. It was the one with Michael Douglas. It was an 80s one and they redid it. Not the, oh, frig, I can't believe I can't. So, more, and obviously my family, my girls, my 2 little girls, I want to pave a way for them so they have actually a good, not just a good life to live, but they can create whatever they want to create, have the passion and love for sales like I do in this thing. And then above that is impact. Like I actually want to change the game. That's why human-centric selling is a big one for us. I want to change the game. People call sales as evil, right? Like one of the talks I make is about how sales is evil. I'll tell you this, and we can end it here. It's very important that salespeople understand this. In 1952, the level of trust for salespeople was at 70%. 70% of the people trusted salespeople. Today, it's like the floor has fallen away from us. It's less than 10%. And in fact, in the book, in Daniel Pink's book, To Sell is Human, they did a study, and 4 out of 5 people have a negative impact or negative reflection of salespeople. 4 out of 5 people do not like salespeople. Hell, salespeople don't even like their own kind. My purpose and my drive is to change that narrative, especially with AI. I get this. I'm fighting people all the time. Oh, AI is going to take over. No. AI is not going to take over every salesperson, but AI will take over every salesperson who doesn't understand AI and doesn't know how to use AI to their advantage. 100%. Where there's teams of 30, 40 setters, you may only have teams of 3 or 4 setters. Where there's teams of hundreds of salespeople, you only have 2 or 3 of those salespeople.
Go check out my Instagram. I'm reviewing their calls already. The AI bots. Some of them are pretty good.
Oh, our AI. I already created an AI that reviews calls. Not even.
No. That calls for you. That does your appointment setting and that does handles objections. And I've been reviewing their calls. They're getting better.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, look, man, it's been a great call. Thank you for being on today. You brought a lot of fire. You were bringing the fire, so I was letting you speak. You filled up the show with a lot of great nuggets today. Thank you for being on. Kayvon Kay, everybody, follow this guy on Instagram. Thank you for being on the show. And any last words of wisdom?
No, I'm good. I love many, trust few, but always paddle your own canoe.